What if the discovery of fire wasn't a carefully planned invention, but a complete accident? Stay with me, because in this video, we'll uncover how our ancient ancestors first discovered cooking and how that single moment changed the course of human history forever. But before we begin, if you enjoy fascinating stories about humanity's hidden past, please take a second to like the video and subscribe. It really helps the channel and lets us keep creating more content like this. Now, let's go back hundreds of thousands of years to the moment everything changed.
You're making dinner. You turn a knob, a blue flame appears. A few minutes later, your food is hot, safe, easy. You barely think about it. But if that flame disappeared tomorrow, your entire life would change. Not just your meals, your health, your schedule, even your brain. That sounds ridiculous. After all, cooking is just a way to make food taste better, right? Except it isn't. For almost 2 million years, one simple habit quietly reshaped the human body more than almost anything else we ever invented. Not farming, not language, not cities, cooking. And according to some scientists, the moment our ancestors learned to control fire wasn't just another technological breakthrough. It was the moment we truly started becoming human. So how could heating food completely rewrite our species? The answer begins long before civilization, long before caves, long before Homo sapiens even existed. Imagine eating every meal raw. No boiling, no roasting, no frying. Every piece of meat is tough, like chewing leather. Every root is hard enough to crack your teeth. Many plants are poisonous unless processed. Today, eating raw is a lifestyle choice. 2 million years ago, it was the only option. Around 2.5 million years ago, our ancestors lived much like other great apes. Their menu constantly changed. Fruit, leaves, tubers, seeds, the occasional animal if they were lucky, or if another predator left something behind. Scientists studying fossil teeth from sites like Olduvai Gorge in Tanzania discovered microscopic wear patterns, showing early humans consumed incredibly tough foods. Their jaws reflected that lifestyle. Huge chewing muscles, broad faces, large molars. In other words, they weren't built to think. They were built to chew. Here's what makes this important. Your brain is expensive, really expensive. Although it makes up only about 2% of your body weight, it consumes roughly 20% of your daily energy. Imagine driving a tiny scooter that somehow burns fuel like a semi-truck. That's your brain. Early humans simply couldn't afford brains like ours while spending most of the day chewing raw food. And they really did spend most of the day chewing. Modern chimpanzees often chew for 5 to 6 hours every day. That's practically a full-time job. Not exactly a recipe for inventing civilization. At some point, something extraordinary happened. Our ancestors stopped fearing fire. They started using it. Exactly when remains debated. Evidence from sites like Wonderwork Cave in South Africa, dated to around 1 million years ago, contains ash, burned bones, and plant material deep inside the cave, far beyond where natural wildfires could easily reach. Other sites in Israel and Kenya tell similar stories. This wasn't lightning. This was control. Now, imagine dropping a hard potato into boiling water or placing a tough steak over glowing coals. Within minutes, something invisible happens. Heat breaks down plant cell walls. It softens connective tissue. It kills dangerous bacteria. It destroys many natural toxins. Cooking doesn't simply warm food. It begins digesting it before you ever take a bite. Evolutionary anthropologist Richard Wrangham argues this changed everything. His cooking hypothesis suggests cooked food provides substantially more usable energy than raw food. Think about that. The food didn't become bigger. Humans simply became better at extracting calories already inside it. It's like upgrading your internet speed without changing the cable. Same resource, far better performance. Suddenly, less chewing, less digestion, more energy left over, and evolution loves efficiency. Wait a second. If you've made it this far, you're exactly the kind of person who believes the story of our world is worth exploring. So if you're enjoying this journey, take a moment to like this video and subscribe. It helps us continue uncovering the hidden history
story, forgotten discoveries, and incredible moments that shaped the world we live in today. Now, let's get back to the story. For hundreds of thousands of years, something curious happened. Human bodies changed. Our jaws shrank, our teeth became smaller, our intestines shortened. Meanwhile, our brains exploded in size. Coincidence? Maybe, but probably not. Species like Homo erectus, appearing around 1.9 million years ago, already looked dramatically different from earlier human ancestors. Their bodies became taller, their legs longer, their brains significantly larger. Researchers studying Homo erectus fossils from East Africa noticed another interesting trend. The skeleton suggests a body built for long-distance walking and endurance. That requires enormous amounts of energy. Where did it come from? Here's where cooking enters the story again. Digesting raw food demands time. Cooking dramatically reduces that cost. Think of your digestive system like a factory. Raw food arrives as giant tangled packages. Workers spend hours opening every box. Cooked food? Most of the packaging has already been removed. The factory runs faster, cheaper, more efficiently. That extra energy didn't disappear. It went somewhere, increasingly into the brain. Of course, not every scientist agrees cooking alone explains our intelligence. Greater meat consumption, improved hunting, social cooperation, climate shifts, all probably mattered too. But cooking may have tied them together into one powerful evolutionary advantage. Fire didn't only change food, it changed evenings. Before controlled fire, darkness meant danger. Large predators owned the night. Once campfires became common, the day suddenly became longer. Anthropologists believe fire created something completely new: shared evenings. Imagine a group sitting around glowing embers after sunset. No hunting, no gathering, just time. Time to repair tools, teach children, tell stories, laugh, argue, plan tomorrow. Credibility. Some researchers even suggest these nightly conversations helped shape increasingly complex language. Nobody knows exactly what those first conversations sounded like. Probably a lot more pointing than poetry. But every civilization begins somewhere. Here's why this matters. Cooking isn't just chemistry, it's social technology. One fire feeds many people. One meal brings families together. One campsite becomes a community. You can still see echoes of that today. Campfires, barbecues, holiday dinners, birthday cakes. We still gather around heat. Not because we have to, because somewhere deep inside us, it feels right. Fire also unlocked new landscapes. Cold regions suddenly became survivable. Frozen nights became manageable. Predators became less intimidating. Researchers studying prehistoric migration routes believe controlled fire likely played a major role as humans gradually expanded across Europe and Asia. Without warmth, many of those journeys become almost impossible. Fire also changed hunting. Wooden spears could be hardened, smoke preserved meat, food lasted longer, travel became easier. 3 enormous advantages appeared. First, more calories. Second, more protection. Third, more mobility. That's an incredible combination. When people say humans conquered the planet, they often imagine sharper weapons. But one glowing campfire may have mattered even more. Here's the fascinating part. Scientists still argue about exactly when cooking began. Some evidence suggests nearly 2 million years ago. Other discoveries point closer to 1 million. Why the disagreement? Because fire rarely leaves perfect evidence. Ash disappears. Wood decays. Ancient campsites erode. It's like trying to reconstruct someone's life from a few burnt matchsticks. Archaeology is incredibly patient work. Every new cave, every burned bone, every microscopic grain of ash could shift the timeline again. That's science at its best. Not certainty, better questions. And regardless of the exact date, the pattern remains remarkably consistent. Smaller teeth, bigger brains, changing bodies, expanding populations, more sophisticated tools. Something transformed humanity. fire sits at the center of nearly every explanation.
Think back to your kitchen, that burner, that oven, that barbecue. They're descendants of one of the oldest technologies humanity ever mastered, a flame. Not just for warmth, not just for light, for transformation. Raw became edible. Calories became abundant. Brains became larger. Families gathered. Stories spread. Journeys expanded. Civilizations emerged. Fire, food, energy, community, migration, innovation. One habit, repeated across thousands of generations. And that's the strange part. When you cook dinner tonight, you're performing an ancient ritual, older than farming, older than cities, possibly older than our own species. That simple meal connects your kitchen to a campfire burning nearly 2 million years ago. The flame may be smaller, the stove may be modern, but the story is the same. If you enjoy uncovering the hidden history behind everyday things, consider subscribing. There are countless ordinary moments hiding extraordinary stories, and we've only just scratched the surface.